Hello and welcome into another episode of HTF Bets. My name is Andrew Gregg, and with college football in full swing, we'll be giving our picks for each of the Power 4 conferences, NBA Western Conference preview, and finally, our surefire picks of the week. We'll be back right after this. And we are back. Like I mentioned in the open, we're going to be talking a bit of college football. I know that you guys love it, but before we get into it, how are you guys feeling today?
I'm doing great.
Feeling great. Glad to be here.
Yeah, well, I know that you're glad to be talking college football again. As we know from an episode of Main Show, we have Ben Huber, college football savant, some are saying, as his national championship pick was?
University of Florida.
The Florida Gators.
Florida Gators.
Chomp. One of the best teams in all of the SEC, right?
Chopped.
Chopped. DJ Lagway, obviously we know, has thrown 5 picks in just one game. That was a beautiful game against LSU, and then
masterclass.
Had another stinker 60 yards in the Miami game. Just overall great performances by him. But we're not talking about the Florida Gators today. Give us your pick for the Big Ten.
So for the Big Ten, I have Oregon at plus 150. It's a little bit chalky, but I need a rebound. I can't go back-to-back horrible picks like I did with the Florida Gators. But Oregon's coming off a huge OT win in Beaver Stadium, where Dante Moore solidified himself as the Heisman frontrunner. I think Moore, as well as offensive line, played amazing, and the defense too. They only allowed 137 yards to Drew Aller. This team is extremely well-rounded. I think Penn State was a bit overrated coming into this game, but it's no easy task to get a win on the road in the Big Ten, let alone a Penn State whiteout game. They just jumped Ohio State in the odds to win the Big Ten. Ohio State's sitting at plus 175, so it's still pretty close. I think these two teams will be meeting in the Big Ten championship, but it's just kind of a toss-up who's going to win or not. I think Oregon looks better as of right now, so I'm riding with Oregon.
Yeah. Diego, any thoughts on the pick?
No, yeah, I completely agree, and I think it's just really impressive how Oregon was able to come into Penn State, get that win in the whiteout game. And yeah, I think they just looked really impressive too. I think they're probably, in my opinion, right now, the best looking Big Ten team so far.
Yeah, I mean, I can't disagree with either of those thoughts. I've made this mention a ton of times at this point, but going into the season, my pick for the national champion was Oregon, and I think that win was more than impressive. I think that's the most hostile environment possible in college football. Obviously, we know a couple years ago when Michigan played them, and then they were playing Mo Bamba, and they couldn't even get the first play call off. It is legitimately one of the hardest places to ever play.
Absolutely.
Beaver Stadium, especially during a whiteout, and they looked absolutely not dominant, but they kept themselves in that game, and their defense, which wasn't a question mark coming into the season, but has been just as good as advertised. They have one of the best defenses in the country. Drew Aller was supposed to be one of the top 3 quarterbacks coming out of this year's draft, and the Oregon defense made him look suspect. So I think overall Oregon is one of the most well-rounded teams. They have one of the best coaches in Dan Lanning, and I don't really see any gripes with this pick, unlike when you came on and said Florida.
I mean, yeah, I said Florida dark horse. I'm going to give another dark horse. Shout out Indiana.
Okay.
Plus 850. Fernando Mendoza looks awesome. I think they lack weight in the trench battle in the offensive defensive line. I don't think they're going to be able to get it done, but they're a fun little frisky pick there,
Yeah, I mean, Kurt Cignetti, one of the most electric coaches in all of college football. So I don't hate Indiana, but am I picking them to win the Big Ten? Probably not. But with that, we welcome in college football expert, just overall HTF Bets analyst and GOAT, if I do say so myself, Augie Aronson, sitting over at the stool. How are you doing today? And give us your pick from the Big 12.
Yeah, I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for that intro, Andrew. And unlike Ben, my sportsbook account is looking good right now. Oregon, big win last week for me. A couple big wins in the NFL. Stonks, baby. We're going up and up. But my pick is in the Big 12. It's not UCF, guys. It's not really a shocker. But give me Iowa State to win the Big 12 at plus 550. Texas Tech has been the best team in the Big 12 all season, but they didn't play too great against Utah. They're starting quarterback through 2 picks. Baron Morton, he injured his neck. He had the bye week. He's back. But they're kind of inexperienced. Texas Tech is the program up and up. Meanwhile, you got Rocco Beck sitting there. All Iowa State has done with him is win. They went to the Big 12 championship game last year against Arizona State. Now, they did get blown out, yes, but Arizona State's not like they were last year. This Iowa State team is ready to go. They got a favorable schedule. They got their best remaining games, which was BYU and Arizona State, who is the second favorite team to win the Big 12. But they got them both at home. Versus some of these teams like Texas Tech and Arizona State, they got to go on the road to play tough games. So I like Iowa State to win at plus 550 because they got a favorable schedule.
Yeah, I have no gripes with that either. I think that going into the conference, you think Arizona State coming off of a good year last year, Sam Levitt, one of the Heisman Trophy, at least like look aheads during the preseason, definitely still on the team. But I think that Arizona State and Texas Tech maybe fall a little bit short of Iowa State. I really like the pick, and like you mentioned, they do have a favorable schedule. They play their 2 toughest games at home, and I think the graphic was very insightful as to how well their defense has been playing this year. They're averaging just over 14 points given up a game. Although the competition hasn't been as steep as you'd like it, they're playing the Big 12. They have a good defense, and their offense with Rocco Becht is one of the most coherent in the Big 12 right now. So no gripes on my part. What about you guys?
No, yeah, I completely agree. I think like anytime you're picking the Big 12 winner, like you're obviously going to think of Iowa State or Texas Tech, but like Augie mentioned, I just think Iowa State is the better team, and I think just the Big 12 isn't very, I guess it doesn't have much depth to it. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the matchup with Arizona State and Iowa State last year. Arizona State did blow them out, but, that was last year. Arizona State has not looked very good to start the season. They almost lost to TCU, which I don't even think TCU is all that great.
Yeah.
But Texas Tech has looked good, but they haven't really been there before. Those 2 teams in Iowa State and Arizona State have been there before, and I think Iowa State has looked better. So I don't like I do like the pick. I don't hate it.
I will say, if it comes down to an experience factor, Texas Tech has been a mediocre team in the Big 12 for an extended period of time now. This is the year where they made the jump, and they have been undefeated this season. But I think that Iowa State just holds a little bit to them, and this is the year where I feel like they can finally break through in the Big 12. Yeah. But moving on, one of the deepest conferences is like probably the best conference consistently in all of college football. What do you have for the SEC, Diego?
Yeah, so my pick for the SEC is going to be Alabama. Right now, that's sitting at plus 260. Like, I think Alabama, after their win against UGA, I think that kind of stole it for me. I just think that they have a really good offense. I know Ryan Williams is obviously the star of that offense, but he's been struggling a little bit right now. I think he's going to be able to pick it up. I think Ty Simpson has been one of the better quarterbacks in the country, and I think he's only going to continue to get better as well. And then their left tackle, Caden Proctor, is just an absolute dog. I mean, we saw him go and have his own screenplay. I mean, he's literally one of the best left tackle like I've ever seen in college football. And he's super fast. He's super strong. He's just bigger than everybody else. And yeah, I think their defense too is just really good. They have a really good linebacker group. I think they're just well coached too. I think Kalen DeBoer is finally, getting them going. And like I said, after that big win against UGA, I really think the sky's the limit for this Alabama football team this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's Alabama football, right? And I feel like they were kind of written off, especially after taking an early loss. But they bounced back in an epic fashion, winning at Georgia. Georgia coming into that game with a 33-game home winning streak and completely dethroning them. Obviously, Georgia had their opportunities to win that game, but Alabama through and through played really well and were deserving to win that game. The only thing I will say is that the SEC obviously is the deepest conference, and it's just hard to pick this team in general. Right now, these are the teams that have one loss or are undefeated: Ole Miss, Missouri, Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Alabama, LSU, Tennessee, Georgia, Texas, and Mississippi State. All those teams, maybe minus Mississippi State, are genuine contenders, and they're all in the mix for it. So, Ben, any thoughts on the SEC?
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily have a problem with this pick. It's just the SEC is so competitive, and it's so tough to pick. It is so hard to just say, oh yeah, Alabama's going to go out and win in the SEC championship, not just have the best record in the SEC, but also win that big game at the end of the season. I think it's a good pick, but, if I was a betting man, I don't know.
Yeah, I'd probably stay away from it, honestly. I mean, time will tell with the SEC.
Well, so it's a lot of confidence in your pick, but
like if we're talking about real life, yeah, I'd probably stay away from it. But if I had to pick right now, Alabama's my team.
Yeah, I good win against Georgia, and just in general, it feels like that team is really starting to find their groove. Moving into the only conference that has a minus next to their conference champions, at least for the odds names, the ACC with Miami. This is a little bit of a homer pick, and I went ahead and said the same exact thing last year, but this defense is so much more improved from last year. As you can see on the graphic, they're only averaging 11.5 points given up per game, and their offense has well over 36 points per game just in general, this offense has looked like one of the best in all of college football. They dominated USF. They beat the Gators. It wasn't as dominant as you would have liked to see, but If they win this week against Florida State, that is their last ranked matchup of the season at Doak Campbell Stadium, rivalry game. They're able to pull it off. I think they guarantee themselves a spot in the ACC championship, and just from top to bottom, probably the best team in all of the ACC. They have Carson Beck at the helm. They have CJ Daniels and Malachi Toney as their X and Y receivers, as well as some other guys that will be coming back, like JoJo Trader at some point during the season. The running backs, genuinely one of the deepest running back rooms in all of the nation. And then Ruben Bain is a Heisman Trophy candidate on the defensive side of the ball, as well as just Akeem Mesidor, one of the best defensive linemen in all of college football. Their secondary is much improved. I really like the way Miami's playing this year. Any thoughts, guys?
No, I agree. I think, like, just in general, they just looks really good. There's also not much competition in the ACC, so really no gripes with my book.
Yeah, right? Going into the season, it was probably Clemson is their biggest competition. Now it's Georgia Tech, maybe. So the ACC is a little bit lacking. Ben, any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is a no-brainer. I mean, minus 105, I wouldn't even be surprised if this was like minus 200. Yeah. It's pretty obvious that Miami's going to win. I don't think they're going to really face any competition. Clemson is really not that good.
Yeah, and one final thought from you, Augie. Anything that you saw that stood out to you? Any pick that you really liked or really didn't like?
Yeah, I mean, I like the Miami pick. I don't really think there's any competition there. All the energy for this game this weekend kind of got sucked out with Florida State losing to Virginia. Diego, obviously, the SEC is a mess, but I think it would have been clear if John Mateer didn't get hurt that I probably would have went with Oklahoma. But now that he's hurt, I would stay away from them for a while. Ole Miss is going to screw it up somehow. We all know that. LSU hasn't been great, so I don't really hate this pick coming off a big win, Diego. I think it's the best pick of what we've seen so far.
Yep. Well, I'm glad we finally got to talk some college football, and then hopefully we'll come back in January and see that these picks were at least semi-accurate. Coming up right after this, we're going to be talking about the NBA Western Conference.
Hi, sorry to interrupt your show, but I want to give you a little rundown of everything we do here at the Hitting the Field Network. My name's Nick Cohen, and I'm the host of Hitting the Field, our flagship show heading into season 21. Live streaming every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern, we talk about anything and everything sports. Tuesdays, we have season 3 of Girls Got Game. Hosts Katie Sue Christensen and Mia Flores discuss all the biggest topics in women's sports. On Wednesdays, make sure to tune into season 7 of The Combine, hosted once again by Ty Patton. This podcast dives deep into every detail about the NFL season. Next on Thursdays, we live stream season 11 of HTF Bets, brought to you by Andrew Gregg, Diego Ortiz, and Ben Huber. Any sports betting questions? I'll let the pros answer those on Thursday. Then TGIF, because we have new episodes of season 9 of Nighttime, hosted again by Matthew Bracker and Kathleen Moore. Nighttime keeps you up to date on all UCF and collegiate sports. And ultimately, Edgar Rodriguez and Patrick De Leon are back for season 2 of HTFC. Soccer is a year-round sport, so make sure not to miss HTFC. Lastly, end your week on Sundays with our vlog squad, asking the hard-hitting questions and letting you behind the scenes of our studio days. Make sure to follow us on our social medias like Instagram and TikTok to stay updated on all HTFN news. Remember to subscribe to the Hitting the Field Network on YouTube, leave a like and comment, and with that, I think we're ready for your next segment. I've been Nick Cohen, and enjoy the rest of your show.
And welcome back. Like I said at the end of last segment, we are talking about the NBA for a second straight week here on HTF Bets. We did the Eastern Conference last week. Now we are moving into the Western Conference. Diego, start us off. What is your pick for an over-under win total for a specific team this year?
Yeah, so for my team, I'm going to be talking about the Houston Rockets, and I think they're going to have less than 53.5 wins this year. Look, and that's not just because I think they're going to be a worse team. I think they're going to be similar to what they were last year. Obviously, this is a very stacked Western Conference, but I think just injury issues are going to be the problem. Kevin Durant isn't really as durable as he once was. I think Amin Thompson missed some time last year with injury as well. And I think overall they're going to be a consistent team, but I just think injuries could kind of hinder that. Plus, just a lot of tough matchups. Obviously, they had 52 wins last year, and I think KD does move the needle for them, talking about the postseason. But in terms of just the regular season, I don't really see that changing. Obviously, their roster is great in general, though. I mean, Thompson's a really good point guard, and then you still got Alperen Sengun. I think Jabari Smith has kind of found his role with this team as well. Obviously, he's in the kind of the superstar that everybody thought he would be, but he's a good shooter, a good rim protector. And I just think this team in general, I think they're going to go far, particularly in the playoffs. I think it'll go past the first round. Losing Van Vliet obviously hurt too. But yeah, I think the Rockets are going to be kind of right there with 50 to 52 wins, kind of like they were last year.
Yeah, I personally think that the Western Conference is very easily the deeper conference, and there's just so many hard matchups on a night-to-night basis. There were 2 teams that went over 50 wins, but there were also 8 teams that were at least at 48 wins. So between that 50 to 48 range, there were 6 teams in that mix.
Insanely competitive.
Yeah, it's insanely competitive from night to night. 53.5 wins is a little bit tough, given the fact that they only won 52 last year. Who knows how healthy KD will be and how well he'll mesh immediately. Yeah. Jalen Green was a big piece for them, although he didn't play particularly well in the playoffs. He was great for them during the regular season. And Alperen Sengun has been he's been a consistent double-double threat, and he's one of the best players, at least like one of the best players in the Western Conference. But can he win you games consistently when KD's out? Well, it's yet to be seen, and we'll see what the health of KD looks like. Any thoughts on the Rockets?
Yeah, I mean, it's like you see when KD goes to a different team, it's like they always seem to disappoint. I think that it's just, I don't know, the Rockets, it's a very risky pick here, but I think they will hit over 53.5. I'm actually going to go against you on this one. I think it's going to be a 3-team race for this Western Conference, and I think the Rockets going to be in that.
Yeah, I'd probably say post 2021. I feel like the Warriors was a massive hit.
Yeah,
but,
obviously after.
Yeah, the Nets were pretty mediocre at times, and then obviously the Suns this past couple seasons were not the greatest team in the world. They had to completely disband that team. I think I'd side with Diego on this. I just in a Western Conference that is so deep from night to night, it's just so tough to win 54, 55 games in this conference. So 53 seems like right about where they'd be at, but anything over is just a little bit of a stretch for me. And welcoming in a guest that we've had on twice this semester now, somebody who very clearly knows Western Conference ball. We're going to get you started with your team for the Western Conference over-under. Give us your pick, Jaden.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here, Andrew. Look no further than the Memphis Grizzlies. And I feel like I speak for all Grizzlies fans when I say we're not going to be as bad as people anticipate us to be. Yeah, I know Jaren's going to miss time to start the season. Zach Edey, Brandon Clark. We lost Desmond Bane in the offseason. But that's fine. People are forgetting one thing. We are the Memphis Grizzlies, and we thrive off finding young guys in the back of the bench to fill those key rotational roles. We have Jalen Wells, Gigi Jackson Jr., our rookie, Cedric Coward. We're ready. And one more thing, Ja Morant. He is ready to carry us this season, to start the season. We're going over for sure.
Does it concern? I just have a couple questions for you, Jaden, because this pick is a little bit interesting to me. Obviously, this team is projected to only win 39. Well, the projection sits at 39.5. So a team that is not really supposed to be in the playoff mix. Do you think that there's a possibility that the Grizzlies get to the playoffs? And how do you feel about their head coach being fired at the very end of the last season? And what do you think that does to just a team that is a little bit unstable, losing Desmond Bane and just with some other key pieces gone? Just how do you feel about this team's odds to win the playoffs? I guess is the general question there. To make the playoffs?
Make the playoffs? 100% sure. I think our new coach, Thomas Eastlow, is a great head coach from Europe. He has a lot of crazy pick and roll plays that he likes to incorporate in our new offense now. We weren't running a lot of pick and roll with Taylor Jenkins, so I'm uber confident in him. I'm uber confident in our young guys, and especially 12, Ja Morant. So we're ready.
Yeah, I will see. There were 10 teams in the Western Conference last year that won over 40 games. So could the Grizzlies be in that mix? For sure. Any thoughts, guys?
No, yeah. I mean, I think it's an interesting pick, and I think with the points he made, I think time will just tell. Honestly, I think it'll be hard, obviously, with some guys being out in the start of the season and just injury issues in general. And I think they just kind of almost collapsed as a team. We'll see kind of where the Grizzlies go from right here, but yeah, I just think time will tell.
Yeah, I feel like this is one of those teams that you're just kind of unsure about going into the season. They could have a higher ceiling, especially with Ja Morant and Triple J, but their floor could also be pretty low and possibly, unfortunately, Jaden, I'm sorry, but one of the worst teams in all of the NBA.
Yeah. I mean, when you lose Desmond Bane, a key offensive piece, and then Jaren Jackson Jr. is out for a little bit, it's just gonna be hard. They're gonna have to win a lot of games down the stretch to hit this line.
Yeah. Well, moving into the next pick, Ben, give us your NBA knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, watching the Oklahoma City Thunder last year, amazing team, so much young talent. It seemed like they were destined to win a title going into the postseason, and they got the job done. But let's face it, with the changes in the Western Conference, wins will be harder to come by. With the highest line in the NBA, everything has to break their way like it did last year. And I think at 62.5, the Thunder just hit a little bit under that mark. It's going to be a very tight race with, I think, the Rockets. You have the Lakers and Nuggets. All these teams are very good this year. I think they can still hit the #1 seed, but 62.5, I don't think it's crazy to say that they're going to go under that mark. I don't know. I don't trust the Thunder to hit over 62.5 wins again this season. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, 63 games is a lot of wins. That would leave only 19 losses in their whole schedule. I just think that that line is a little bit high. Obviously, they won 68 games last year, but that included multiple 10-plus game winning streaks. They won 15 at some point, 15 straight at some point. It is a high line. I think I'm probably with you on under 62.5.
And I think one thing, too, that kind of goes under the radar is just, like, fatigue. I mean, once you're coming off a season where, you know, you're coming off a finals win and then the series went 7 games, like, I mean, you're maximizing kind of, like, your whole schedule, like, in terms of how many games you can play in a year. So, yeah, I think hitting that line would just be, you know, pretty hard.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And then moving on into the final pick of this segment, I personally have the Spurs over 44.5 wins, and this is because of 2 words, 1 player, 1 person, Victor Wembanyama, one of the best defensive players we've ever seen in all of NBA basketball. And obviously his size is a factor, but he's just an athletic freak. He's one of the guys where you look at and is probably going to be the face of the NBA for years to come. I just don't see a world in which a healthy Victor Wembanyama doesn't help this team get to at least a playoff race. This team, in 2 years, this team is 16-31 without Wemby. It is genuinely a sight for sore eyes when Victor Wembanyama isn't playing, but when he is, the Spurs can stack up to be at least a competitive team in the West. I think that over 44.5 wins, just getting to that like over 500 mark is definitely in the cards for the season. They can definitely be a competitive team. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's really just about if Wemby can stay healthy. I mean, this team is really talented. I mean, outside of Wemby, there's not a lot. I mean, they have De'Aaron Fox. I think that duo is going to be a lot better this year. But 44.5, I think they can hit. I think they can hit over that. But yeah, it's going to be if Wemby can stay healthy.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, like, if you're looking at Wemby and you have a full off season of training, he comes into the season healthy, like, I think this is the year that he could just take off. So, I mean, 44.5 wins, like, with just him, like, who knows how he could be when he, you know, finds his footing in the NBA.
100%. And with that, we've given you our picks for college football. We've given you our picks for the NBA. But now we have our surefire picks that actually hit this year around. We'll be back with that right after this.
You never got me anything for my birthday.
I don't even know what that is. I thought birthdays were every 100 years like the Kids' Choice Awards.
What?
Ah, finally, he's here, man. He's always late.
Who?
Marcus?
You good?
I'd give them one of these, and one of these.
Behind every on-screen moment is a whole team of engineers and technologists.
And you can be a part of such a team through SFPOW at UCF. You'll join a team of students just like you who are ready to innovate the future of TV and film.
With SFPOW at UCF, you'll be able to connect with local industry pros, learn about new technology in the industry, as well as get backstage experience that really matters. Join SFPOW for a backstage pass to all of this.
We meet every last Monday of the month for our general body meetings. There, we discuss how new technology is being used to create new media, and we get to highlight local professionals and their specialties.
On top of that, we have some site visits planned, so tune into our social media to be notified of when those will happen.
So if you're ready to pull back the curtain and find out what really happens behind the scenes, join SFPOW at UCF.
And we are back. Like I mentioned at the start of the show, at the very end of the last segment, these surefire picks of the week, it almost makes me want to tear up this year. We are getting so good at this segment. We are 5-1 over the course of 2 separate surefire picks of the week segments, and we are trying to go undefeated for the second straight time. Ben, start us off with your surefire pick of the week, something that's actually going to hit.
Yes, I know what you're all thinking, who the hell is Jake Tonjes? And I would tell you, I really don't know either. But Ricky Pearsall's out, Juwan Jennings is out, George Kittle is still out. Jake Tonjes is the only form of continuity in this offense. He He's been there for a couple weeks. He's hit this line in 3 out of 4 games this season. And at minus 150, Jake Tonj is over 2.5 receptions. I think this is a lock. It's a little bit degenerate because, no one knows who Jake Tonj is. But I think this is definitely hitting. I think this is my lock of the week. It's got to be.
Wait a second. Okay, wait, nobody knew who Jake Tonjes was coming into the season, but look at that catch in the back of the end zone, dude. I've definitely heard Scott Hansen on Red Zone say his name a couple of times. He's had a couple great grabs, and look, he's scooting forward for a couple extra yards on that clip.
It's preseason.
Yeah, the rest is preseason.
Okay. Well, he does have 12 receptions through 4 games so far, so he's at an average of 3 receptions per game, and this is a game where, like you mentioned, they're without Juwan Jennings, they're without Ricky Pearsall. Just in general, this offense looks like a shell of itself. They're going to have to dump it down to a tight end. It makes sense that his line is sitting at minus 150. I think that Jake Tonjes over 2.5 receptions is a line that you want to take in tonight's Thursday night football game. Any thoughts, Diego?
No, yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't really know who he is, but I mean, we'll see, honestly. I don't know.
Yeah, well,
it's gut check time for Jake Tonjes.
There you go.
It's time for Jake Tonjes to come through for the surefire pick of the week. I think he knows. He's watching. Jake Tonjes, when you see this, bro, we believe in you. As for my pick, I'm going with the Miami FSU game. Being a little bit of a homer for the second time today, my pick is Miami minus 4.5, sitting at minus 110. Just physically, I believe that with all my being that Miami is the better team, and not only will I be crushed, I will lose money if Miami doesn't win. So for multiple reasons, I am going with the Miami Hurricanes. Like I mentioned during the ACC talk that we were doing, Akeem Mesidor and Ruben Bain are 2 of the best defensive players that are in all of college football. This offense is averaging over 35 points a game. Carson Beck looks more like his 2023 season than his 2024 season, and just in general, this FSU team is coming off a deflating loss. I think that the defense is able to hold down Tommy touchdowns for as long as possible, and this offense can get it clicking against an FSU defense that can clearly be had. UVA, who isn't close to the offense that Miami is, ran up numbers against them. So Miami minus 4.5. I think this game is a shootout, but they're able to win by probably at least a touchdown. So I'm confident in minus 4.5 going back to the well with Miami. Thoughts, guys?
No, yeah, I agree. I think Miami, like we said earlier, the best team in the ACC. It'll be a tough road test. I think FSU isn't necessarily the easiest hostile environment to play at, but yeah, I like Miami this weekend as well.
Yeah, I absolutely like Miami too. I think minus 4.5 is a good line. Yeah. I would definitely take this too. And Tommy Castellanos is getting pressured all day against Virginia. I think Miami will throw a lot of blitzes at him, and they'll just get him frazzled, and he won't play that good. I think Miami's got this. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm glad that you guys are so confident in this week's pick. I just think, in general, right, going into a Miami FSU game, a rivalry game that everybody is so hyped for from either side of the standpoint, I think that Miami will just come out with the right energy. Mario Cristobal is a great leader of men, maybe not the greatest in-game play caller, but that is why we have each of the coordinators that we do have. One of the best defensive coordinators in all of college football, one of the best OCs in all of college football. Just in general, this Miami team is destined for greatness. I think genuinely one of the top 3 or 4 teams in all of college football. I don't think that FSU they definitely didn't come into the season with that type of expectations on them, and I think there's a reason for that. I don't think that they were really deserving of that top 10 spot when they had it. Great win against Alabama, but I think that Miami is even better than Alabama. So I think Miami minus 4.5 is a lock, and that is coming from my Miami heart. Moving on, Diego, give us the final surefire pick of the week.
Yeah, so my pick is going to be the Kansas City Chiefs at Jacksonville on Monday night, minus 3.5. And I like Kansas City to cover that 3.5. I think, honestly, looking at it, the line a little higher than I thought it would be. I thought maybe Kansas City would be favored by 2 points, just kind of being on the road, primetime game. They haven't necessarily looked great by any means, but I think they've looked solid. And I think right now in October, this is kind of the time where Kansas City is gonna, start to hit their stride. I think Mahomes, he's got Xavier Worthy back. They're coming off a huge win against Baltimore as well. So yeah, I like Kansas City to kind of win this game pretty convincingly. And from here, I think they're just gonna take off. Honestly, I think they're gonna be the Kansas City that we all know and love. Well, I don't know about love, but we all know.
Yeah, love is probably a bit of a stretch, but I think that on a consistent basis, Kansas City is just one of the more disrespected teams for how good their record has been over the last couple of years, and the fact that they have won to 3 straight Super Bowls and almost won 3, maybe not almost, the Eagles definitely blew them out, but they are just one of the best teams in all of the NFL. And if you look at the Jaguars, I just don't think that they are the most competitive team. I know that they're 3-1 coming off a 49ers win, but that 49ers team is beat up. Ben, any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, this is really a tale of 2 surprise teams, the Chiefs who have really disappointed and the Jags who have really surprised a lot of people. I just don't think the Jags are really all they're cracked up to be. They've had a few good wins, but they're not really quality. They beat an injured 49ers team, and I think it's really going to be a fraud check for the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Chiefs are probably going to beat them by, I'd say, probably a touchdown. So I like this line.
Yeah, and the Chiefs have scored their highest amount of points last game against a defense that, while it's like it hasn't been as good as it was cracked up to be, a good defense in the Baltimore Ravens, and their highest amount of points in 2 years now. Just in general, this Chiefs team is better than the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I think we all know that. With that being said, that is going to do it for our Surefire Picks of the Week segment, and just in general for HTF Bets this week. We'll see you right here back on the network next Thursday.